Back with chapter 22, which is called A Change of Plan. When the hunting party arrived back on the Frostheart, the rest of the crew was so relieved they didn't care that the only supplies they brought back were some measly snow hares and a few pouches of berries. On top of that, the commotion caused by the hunt must have sent signals out to other Leviathans, for soon after the Frostheart had picked the hunters up, they were joined by their very own procession of salivating hurtlers hot in pursuit. It was simply too dangerous to stop the sleigh again, let alone get off it to attempt another hunt. "Looks like there's been a change of plans, my good fellows," Captain Nook announced to the crew. "Our rations are too low to get us to Aurora's embrace, as we're all painfully aware. Instead, we shall head to Skybridge." "That's taken us leagues away from our path. And for what?" Caelan objected. "Simple. Skybridge is the closest stronghold, and the best hope we have to safely resupply. It's all those stupid crows' fault, I'm sure of it. They scared the Ulk away and brought the lurker straight to us. Was this what the Frostheart was trying to warn Ash about? That the crows were against him somehow? Monstrous Leviathans he'd expected, but conniving crows." He eyed the crows flying high above, apparently as determined to keep up with the Frostheart as the Leviathans were. Ash's belly lurched as the sleigh changed direction. Luna stood beside Nook, inspecting her wrist compass and pointing the way to Skybridge. The crew ran to and fro across the deck, altering the sails to change the Frostheart's course. Ash saw Yori begin preparations as to change the sunstone within the engine, whose power had been all but expended. "Yori, I wonder if you'd allow me to take a look," Shard asked him, stepping in front of the engineer and taking the required equipment from his hands. "I've been hearing some concerning sounds coming from the engine. I'd like to check if everything's in order." "Why not see to your friend and leave this to me," he said, indicating Yella, who sat on the steps to the upper deck, broken arm in a sling. "You sure?" Yori asked. "No one knows the Frostheart's engine better than me. Trust me, it's what I do." Yori seemed reluctant, but Shard's smile was very convincing. He nodded and strode over to his wounded friend. Ash took the opportunity to approach Shard. "Thank you for saving us from that lurker," Ash said to him. He would never say it, but I'm sure Toby was glad you were there too. Shard looked dubious. "I'm not so sure, but your thanks are most welcome, young Songweaver. The wilds are a dangerous place, and I'm sure the time will come when you will do the same for me." He'd taken a spherical archaeomech case from Yori that contained, Ash saw on closer inspection, a bright, powerful new sunstone. "Come, lad," Shard said to Ash, "let me show you how to change a sunstone." The stone in the engine was now nearly black as flint, warm red veins streaking across its surface, fading from existence like the cooling of embers in a hearth. Shard loaded in the new sunstone casing in the sleigh's engine by pulling on levers and opening rusted compartments. He was fast, so as not to leave the engine without power for too long. He then ejected the old one, tossing the metallic casing that contained it from hand to hand. Phew, still hot, hot. He put his hands on either side of the object and turned them into opposite directions, the archaeomech clicking open and the sunstone within dropping into a barrel of ice water. Stones get hot as flame when the life is sucked out of them. The water hissed and breathed out steam as the drained sunstone fizzled into its depths. Ash gasped in delight. It was spectacular to watch. "Think I'll keep this, though," Shard said, looking at the archaeomech casing with a grin. "These things can withstand the most extreme temperatures, which is always useful for research, at least if you research the type of things I research." Shard revealed the scorch marks running along his leather gauntlet, giving Ash a wink. Not for the first time, Ash was tempted to tell Shard about the lullaby. Shard knew so much about how the world works and its history. Ash was sure he would know what to make of the lullaby's riddles, but there was just something a little too hungry about Shard's expression, and just like the previous times, Ash thought better of it. I'd better go and help. I'd better go and find Tobu. He'll be wondering what happened to me." "Aye, off you go, lad," Shard laughed. "And Ash?" Ash stopped in his tracks to look at the suddenly serious face of the archaeomech tinkerer. "I really do want to help you, you know. I know you want to find the Songweaver stronghold as much as I do. If you ever recall something your parents said to you, a clue they might have left behind, anything at all, well, I could try to help." Ash stood awkwardly on the deck, biting his lip and gripping the hem of his sleeve. It was like Shard had read his mind, and the thought wasn't very pleasant. He gave a slow nod before rushing off to his tent. It's the end of chapter 22.